Hi folks, welcome back to the channel and thank you very much for joining me once again. You're always most welcome. Well, I announced recently it was going to be Matchbox March. It's 50 years of Matchbox, as many of you now know. The company Matchbox Kits, which was a division of Lesney, was set up in 1972. Lesney went back to 1947, but so we're at 50 years of these kits. You've seen my appraisal of quite a number of them, not all of them by any stretch of the imagination, but we have 3 new ones. Well, new is a big word when we talk about 50-year-old kits, but we've got 3 that I haven't seen before. Many of you may have it and think, oh, he doesn't know about them all. Then no, I don't. I didn't have them all. I had about, of the aircraft, I had about 2/3, perhaps 3/4, but there we are. Anyway, today it's the turn of the very appropriately sort of timed for it's also the 40th anniversary of the Falklands conflict, and we have the Sea Harrier FRS.1, which I never had before. I think it came out in originally came out I think in about 86-ish. Don't think we have a date on here. This is one of the Chinese manufactured ones, which tended not to date them for some reason. No hint at all, to be honest, but there we go. Why don't we take a closer look and have a proper review of the Sea Harrier from the Falklands conflict. Let's see what we got. I have to say, this is actually a Roy Oxley piece of artwork, which again they've kind of wasted because you know, they've gone and put this really nasty sort of like Hot Wheels styled Matchbox graphics and logo on it. See what you think, because you can clearly see in the background of the artwork Roy Oxley's got the HMS Invincible, so it's clearly the Falklands conflict era that we're talking about. And of course the FRS-1 Sea Harrier was not long after, perhaps 3-4 years, was already gone and replaced by the FA-2, which had the later type of radar systems on board, and the nose, which was a little bit more bulbous than the rather snazzy looking original version which you see here. On the side, so first of all this is PK52, so they got up to 52 and beyond obviously. On the side we've got quite a nice looking, if it turns out to be correct, the colours they've chosen look quite appropriate, don't they, for the Sea Harrier. And then on the rear we've got this sort of not that impressive looking style again, with all this, you know, and then they've moved it all over to the right, where Matchbox used to be on the left, and on the right here there'd be a window. They've gone and sort of reversed that. No window, but barcode. Anyway, we've got number 800 Royal Naval Air Squadron, HMS Illustrious in 1988, or we've got the Invincible in 1981. So these are the guys here that actually went off to the Falklands to battle. You can see how they adopted the later sort of extra dark sea grey, which then remained an overall camo. This is the earlier, just before the Falklands conflict blew up, where they used to have the slightly slightly lighter version of the well, it actually shows it there, doesn't it? I don't know if you can pick this up on the camera. It actually shows it as being lighter here, which I don't think that's correct. I think it was medium sea grey is the lighter one, and extra dark sea grey is the darker one, which is logical. Anyway, we shall see. Now, we are a bit blessed with this, because I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking he's not going to open this. He never opens anything that is shrink wrapped. However, somebody has been a bit clever here. This is something I used to do myself, not with the kits, but with things like iPhones. I'd run a blade around the underneath of the iPhone box and just remove the pane of film needed to open the box. It would still have the shrink wrap around it. Somebody's done something very similar here. It's basically had the shrink wrap removed from the bottom, so you can just take it off like a little lid almost, and then put it back at the end, which is ideal for us. That means we can have a proper look at this kit. There we go, see? Magic. So we can do a real review of this. Now we've got it without its shrink film on it, and we can see again, as I mentioned, you've got this rather nice looking 2-colour scheme, which, yeah, if it's as good as it actually, those are the colours they do in fact use, it will look quite nice. But your experience may differ with we already know, don't we, from previous ones like the Buccaneer I showed. Sometimes they, you know, in a production run, they'd have multiple different colours, and they'd even mix up which colours were on which sprues, and for no apparent reason. We shall see. Let's have a look then. So it's an end opening box, typical Revell style, you know. Now, I've literally not opened this box before, so I have no idea what it looks like, the kit. I promise you. This is a first for me. So I thought I was worried then that there was no instruction. Oh, yeah, got a canopy. Definitely empty. What do we have? Do we have some decals? Yes, we do have some decals. This is looking good, looking good. So, I also want to see how this differs from the regular Harrier. Well, I can tell you for a start, I've already spotted a problem. I'll come to that in a second. We'll come to the problem in a second. Oh, so it's like a... Okay, so it's almost like they've done the two different types of grey. I don't know if you can really see this hue it's got. I'll tell you what, we'll look at the instructions first. We'll do it the normal way. The way I would normally approach this. So, they're quite differently presented than the early versions, so let's zoom you in. Here we go. Now then. So we've got the sort of cover page, as it were, at the bottom, which is very curious, and we've got the colour guide above. Very different to what they normally do. Evolved from the RAF Harrier, the Sea Harrier meets the Royal Navy's requirement for a fighter reconnaissance strike aircraft. The avionics are 90% changed from the RAF variant, and the new variant includes the Blue Fox radar and digital navigation system. Okay, put that there, shall we? Entered service in April 1980, and they were sold to the Royal Indian Navy. The fuselage and cockpit is different and have a noticeably different appearance, with a higher cockpit for better visibility. Okay, first entered service with 800 Squadron in April 1980. Okay, so not a huge amount of information there. On the back we have got the colour callouts and the decal guide, which is, in fairness, that seems quite well done. Interestingly, this is number did it say on the back? Number 001. It's actually Sharkey Ward's aeroplane. Can you see this? This is pre-Falklands War. It clearly tells you here that it's Lieutenant Commander N.D. Ward, which is our good friend Sharkey Ward of Falklands fame. It's his plane there, 001. Now 001 was, of course, pretty sure that was also the plane that Nigel Sharkey Ward flew into Pebble Mill at 1 on the BBC back green grass lot at the back of the BBC TV studios in Birmingham at Pebble Mill. I think that was about April '79. So that was before they actually got sent off and actually to join the Invincible, when they were just doing initial trials, and they just literally, the squadron had just got the aircraft. But that's great, you got Sharkey Ward's aircraft, so that's very tempting for anybody, isn't it, who's got this kit. So let's have a look at the instructions then. Oh, okay, it's got this weird vertical system again, which I don't really like, but anyway, it's just what you're used to, I suppose, isn't it? Now then, let's have a look. We've got a not entirely detailed seat that it's going to sit in. We've got the main gear, and I have to say that one of the sprue that's got the wings and tails, etc., and bombs on, is taken straight from the standard Harrier kit. I know that for sure. I'll come back to that in a second. Anyway, we've got your bombs, we've got the sidewinders, the 9Ls, can't really tell. Certainly sidewinder missiles anyway, out to pylon. Then we're putting on our little washers, if you like, the guides for the thrust vectoring jets, nozzles. You put them so that they'll pivot basically. It's just exactly like the GR1 version in terms of the way the kit goes together. Then you've got your obviously slightly different cockpit arrangement, which is much higher, the big canopy, and your very different nose, which has its pitot head on the top. And you're putting on your tailplanes and wings and the strakes that go under the belly. Although it should be noted that when they went into combat they had the 30mm Aiden gun packs on them. And then lastly you're putting your weapons, sidewinders and bombs on. It's actually depicting it here. Well, that's actually quite confusing because it only shows one bomb going on, it doesn't show it on both wings. I think they're just trying to simplify it, but it's not the clearest thing I've ever seen, see what I mean? It doesn't show any process for it being done on the same on the opposite wing. So a youngster might find that a little bit confusing and end up with a spare bomb and sidewinder. I'm sure they'll work it out, but it is just not helpful, is it? But anyway, that's the Chinese instructions for you. You know, is it any wonder? This is like the Chinese interpreting Matchbox in the 80s, and this is leading us to the sort of instructions that we have today, of course, on many of their kits. Anyway, then you get your mini paint guide at the bottom. They've done it all on one sheet. I don't like the way they've done it. It's got no colour in it. It's very bland. But no, it's fairly clear, just apart from that thing about the weapons. And that's your kit. So, okay, let's have a look at the parts and see what we've got there. Now, going back to what I said as soon as I opened it, there's actually an error, big error here. I know that we have one member, James, who used to work for BAE, Dunsfold, and he will confirm what I'm saying. Have a look at this wing. There's another classic mistake has been made here. The wing profile, I'll move the box from the background so we don't have any confusion. The wing profile that Matchbox have gone for is this slightly, it's like a dog leg leading edge. See how it dog legs out? Well, that is the later FA2 Harrier leading edge. That is not the FRS1. The leading edge was pretty much the same as it was on the standard RAF Harrier. On the GR1 I'm talking about. The GR3s, I think some of the GR3s had the original wing and then later they got this more modified style. But that is not actually correct. That should, to make this spot on, what you need to do is cut into that a bit with your craft knife and make it a bit more of a sawtooth, not this rather smooth dog leg that they have here. It should be much more pronounced than that. That is not the right one, so somebody's made an error here. Perhaps I ought to go and get out the original Matchbox GR1 version. Everything else you see on this sprue is completely unmodified from the actual tooling. I'm very confident I'm right here. The original tooling, that is the original sprue tooling from the GR1. So I'm guessing that must have the wrong leading edge as well. I will check on that because I actually have a GR1 that I have built, the Matchbox GR1. Or Harrier Mark 1 as they called it, but I'll check that, and when I do the future reviews I'll just confirm back, just to tell you what sort of a leading edge it's got. It'll be very interesting, but I'm very confident it'll be exactly as we have in my hand here. Anyway, there we go. So zooming back in again, you can see that we've got the outrigger, the wing outriggers here, which have got the wheels on, stabiliser wheels. Got our weapons pylons, our bombs here, which I think are £500 bombs? £1,000. I think it might be £500. And then you've got your intake for the Pegasus engine. You've got your rather basic looking seat, and then you've got your nozzles. But it's all nicely moulded. You know, there's no sprue with a flash on it, nothing like that. And then we have the other colour, so I'll put them side by side so you can actually see these two different colours. Yeah, so they've gone for this like light and dark grey scheme. And then we've got, and again it's interesting to look at this and compare it to the regular Harrier. I am not convinced about this. I am not convinced that they've got this right. I think that's just, I'm looking at the cockpit design and the way it fares in. I think that looks like the standard version on the GR1 to me. I am not convinced that is quite right for the Sea Harrier. Again, I'll compare that to the other one and we'll have a look. We've got Sidewinder there, so we've got the different nose, so they've obviously got that right. We've also got our long little pitot head here that goes on top of the nose. Here's Sharky Ward himself. Don't know if we can actually make out his beard here. Known for his big bushy red beard. And then you've got your intake doors, air intakes, those very characteristic like ears. You've got your front landing gear, nose wheel, and you've got your main gear here as well. And then you've got a couple more pylons, and then you get your strakes. And again, another giveaway that I'm suspicious. They've got the AV8A style of aerial, which comes from the original kit. So I'm very suspicious that I think Matchbox might be kidding us here. I'm not at all sure what this looks like when it's finished. In fact, I'm tempted to check this. I have some concerns here that this is not quite accurate. Why don't we just have a look? So let's put us out of our misery, yeah? I have an iPad handy. If you bear with me a moment, I will pull up matchboxkits.org and see if they can tell us which is right. Hold on. Right, purple range, yes. Let's just show you this. 83 to 86, is it there? Let's have a look. No, got that wrong, try again. 87. Let's have a look at what they got. Harrier GR3. No, it's not there. It would have helped us if they gave us a date. It would have been much more helpful, wouldn't it? 1982. Yes, it's 1982. Okay. So, right, let's have a look. Zoom you in so you can see this a bit better. Yeah, it's got the original boxing, so it's got a window on it as well. Look, that's interesting. Let's have a look. I'm suspicious all they've done is change the actual canopy. That's what I'm suspecting they've done here. Let's just have a look. Okay. Ah, okay, we've got one made. Got one made. Can we tell? Can we tell? Let's have a look. So that angle doesn't help us very much. I'm not really convinced about this. It looks quite nice in the two colours though, in fairness. It does look the part. Just like a better shot of that canopy. Now then. See, I don't think that they've got the canopy right. I think all they've done is to change the shape of the canopy. Made it taller. There's a bit of yeah, well there we got the okay, interesting. It's not conclusive, is it? No, not really going to tell us. Not really enough to tell us yes or no. Interesting. Not sure what to make of that. I have to say that the shape of the canopy area doesn't look right to me. It just looks like they've gone and changed put a slightly different shape of canopy and fooled the eye, so you think it's a Sea Harrier. But it sits much more up top. It's probably a foot or more higher than it is on a standard Harrier, to give it a more commanding view as a fighter. And I'm not convinced about that. I will look it up. What I'll do is I'll get out the actual Harrier Mark 1 from Matchbox and I'll see if the actual sprues are the same. If they are, then that is just it's a con. You know, they've shortcutted their way to victory by changing it, and they haven't really retooled it as such. Just doesn't look right. I'd be interested to see hear what you guys think, or if you've built it, or if you've got both kits built, which I haven't, what you actually think about that. Very interesting. Anyway, we have got some decals which we'll have a look at. Let's have a look at this slightly questionable canopy. See what you think of this. Let's just have a sneaky peek. See what I mean? I think that they've tried to achieve it just by changing the canopy shape. I suspect that's what they've done. We'll find out later. Looks okay though. It's Sprue, which is nice. Then we've got some decals, nice decals. And we've got all three versions. We've got the sort of late version, Falklands War onwards, just before the Falklands War, and the Indian Navy version here too. Oh no, sorry, this doesn't have the Indian variant, does it? No, this is just the just the Royal Navy versions. So you've got pre-Falklands, Falklands, and later on the illustrious Invincible, Falklands. Well, arguably it's before and after. In fact, it's kind of neither is strictly the Falklands War, because it's saying 1981 Invincible before the Falklands War, and then 88 on the illustrious, which is long after. So basically, if you go for the lower vis markings, you know, that's more in keeping with the Falklands style to it. But if you want to make it a proper Falklands one, you might want to get some aftermarket. I don't know. But it is Sharky Ward's aeroplane, so I don't know. It's I'd be tempted to stay with Sharky Ward myself. Anyway, that's given us a bit of a mystery, in fairness, hasn't it? So we've not had a very conclusive outing with that one. I'm certain that they've got the wing wrong, so that's not accurate. They've just tried to, for production reasons, they've said, tell you what, we only have to retool one sprue. That's what they've tried to do, and they've ended up not getting it quite accurate. Does it show it accurately in the picture? You see, I think the picture, which will be based on a photograph, looks, it's hard to tell, I know, but I think that looks more accurate. I think that's more like the sawtooth rather than the dog leg leading edge. See if we can get this right in the centre for you. There. Here. Can you tell? It's quite hard to be sure, of course. But, and it may well be, perhaps the expert, or experts that are on watching this might be able to advise us. I suspect that it depends on when that leading edge was changed. If it was changed, you know, later, for later variants that still were used on the illustrious, then that's an excuse for them. But it's not right for the 1981 version, for sure. That's wrong. But there we go. Not too bogged down. It is Matchbox, you know. But it's a lovely little kit. I mean, putting all my technicalities aside, you know, it's a nice little kit. Usual thing. There's no flash. It's on the sprue perfectly. Yeah, and it's come with a nice set of decals which are in great condition. There's nothing not to like here at all, quite frankly. It's smashing. So that's the person who sold me that on eBay. I'll be getting some positive feedback, as he deserves it. But it does show that Matchbox started to go a little bit off the rails at times, and that's a classic example of where perhaps they haven't quite done the research enough when they produce the product. Not sure. But it's a nice little kit. It's actually a dinky little kit, that, if you know what I mean. It's really cute. I quite like it. Anyway, we put it back. How many marks out of 10 is it going to get? It's a tricky one, this, isn't it? There we go. Look, almost like new again. I think I'm going to have to knock it something off, because there's clearly something amiss with that cockpit, I think, and the wing is wrong. I think I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10, which is kind of generous, but I think that's okay. In every other respect, it's nice. You know, it's got easy to build. It's clean. There's no messing. You're not going to have to, you know, mess about rescribing anything really. Just builds up into a nice little Sea Harrier. So what is there not to like? It's a Matchbox kit. We love it. Now, that's one I've never seen before. I've been a bit picky, perhaps really picking on it for those reasons, because I'm sure those faults are in the other version as well. So it's really just a bit of research not done at the time, perhaps correctly. But 8.5 out of 10. I wouldn't hesitate to get your hands on that. I'm pleased I bought that now. It's actually in better condition than I thought it was. It's a really nice kit, that was. It wasn't much. I think I only paid £14 for it. Delivered, which is not bad at all. Probably not going to build it though. Probably going to build my Kinetic instead. Anyway, there we go. 8.5 out of 10. Hope you'll give me at least 10 out of 10 with a thumbs up. Thank you very much. and please stay tuned because we've got more of these to come. As you can probably notice in the background, we've got that lovely Heinkel, we've got the Vickers Wellesley, we've got books and catalogues and magazines, all Matchbox related to come. Plenty for you to tune into and maybe tune out the problems of the world. Have a look at some things that take your mind off less happy events that are going on. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, please ding the notification bell because that's the way you'll get early warning of the next video coming up. And it just remains for me to say, please all stay well, try and stay safe wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining me. Thanks a lot. Until the next video, bye for now.